Welcome to the Arsenal show. We are live. England are 1-0 down, and it's the international lull. Yes, the break is on, and it's not going to last too long. We're back at this weekend. However, we have to deal with another week of England playing football, and yeah, disastrous. I've got Steve K in the building. How you doing, Steve?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. Good to be back. Can't wait for the old Premier League to start on Saturday. Yeah, said many times before, I can't get into this international football arc. So yeah, it'd be good to get back to normal presumption.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree. Let's say hello to, we've got in the comment section, we've got Johnny. How you doing, Johnny? And how you doing? No, good to see you. How's my day? It's getting better. We're about to talk about Arsenal, so let's get to it. Transfer news has come out, and Ben White, Arsenal are confident that a deal will get done for Ben White soon. Negotiations are ongoing since August, November. 3 months in the making, this deal has been. Steve, how much do you know on this deal?
Probably not. Probably just the same as what everybody else knows. It's probably the last of the Arsenal players that's going to get signed up. We've had Saka, Martinelli, the Odegaard, so on and so forth, Saliba, etc. And Ben White's probably the last one that we need to get done, and it's got to be done soon, as you've just read out there. So that's good. Ben White been fantastic since he signed. An integral part of the way we play, an important part, very important part of what we play. And probably more evident, this season, looking at the way we've started games, on how important Ben White's going to be. Maybe we go into that a little bit later. But yeah, fantastic, mate. Great news. Someone who's Crad's favourite. Very rarely has a bad game. Mr. Consistency, if you like. And it's great news for Arsenal.
Yeah, very, very good news for Arsenal. How do you think he's progressed? I mean, we did a sort of half a show, I think it was on Ben White, and I think it's again during an international break last season. How do you think he's progressed since he's joined Arsenal?
Well, when he first came, there was a lot that that wasn't too sure about him. A lot of fans were sort of skeptical on why Arteta would bring in. Was I one of them? Not really. Not really. For me, Ben White was always a good player. I liked him at Leeds. I liked him at Brighton. There was questions over his, fee, on whether he should be coming in for that much. But I think he's proved his worth. But I think since he came in, he started as a centre back. That's where when he first come in, and never really see him coming in, playing as a right back, as time went on. But Arteta, he likes to shock us. He started playing him on the right. At first, I just thought it was just like going to be a one-off. But as time went on, it turned out that, it was something that he headed back, made the position his own in the end. So, yeah, I'm sure Arteta had plans for that all along when he bought him, to be fair. And he just had to get other players in, to sort of implement it. And put him out there, but I think he's just gone from strength to strength. If he was a 7 out of 10 every week as a centre back, for me he went up levels when he was a right back, and that's quite surprising now. When I look back, someone would have told me that at the time. I probably would have said no. Ben White's great centre back, England. That's where his place will be, but he can certainly. He's up there with the best of them for me, performance-wise. On the ball, maybe he's not like a Terence Trent Arnold or possibly a Rhys James or a Kyle Walker, But for absolute consistency, for me, he's right up there. Right up there with them. I think I wouldn't be surprised if those players were as consistent as him.
Why do you think he's not getting into the England squad?
I think something's happened, Keys. To be honest with you, while he was out there, I don't know what. It's obviously something did. When he was sent home, wasn't he, for reasons that we was told at the beginning was personal reasons, and we was told that to respect Ben's privacy. So we assumed that it was a family problem. I was told there was family problems, but I mean, I don't think it is that. I think there's more to it. I think I feel like he's fell out with the manager personally for me. Because his performances, certainly warrant him being in squads. When you look at some of the players that are being picked for England in front of him, and it's quite laughable to be honest with you. And I just think while Gareth Southgate is the manager, you won't see Ben White with his character. With most players you wouldn't say this, but with Ben White, I don't think he gives a damn. Yeah. Generally, I really don't think he gives a damn if he plays for England or not. If you was to tell that to like any footballer or me, if you said that to a media, or a pundit or someone in the game, they go, "Nah, he cares." I don't think they know Ben that well. I don't really believe he really cares. But it's a strange one. But I can only feel he's fallen out with the manager because he hasn't been picked since in any form of friendly or anything.
Yeah, no, it does seem a bit odd because he is one of the most consistent defenders in the Premier League, and the fact that he can play right back, centre back, his main position is the centre back, but he can also play right back, which he's done very good. He's pushed out Tomiyasu, who is a right back. He's pushed his position out, and he's held that shirt. But the fact that he can play that, and even probably you could deploy him in a defensive midfield role if need be in a game, if you had to change tactics around, you wanted to move a bit more attack and you wanted to push someone out of defence. There's options there. So someone's so versatile, it just makes sense to me. So there has to be something. I feel it could be something to do with I don't think he's got an attitude problem. I think he's got that sort of. He's got his persona, the way he talks. His character is very laid back and chilled. Even if you watch the Amazon documentaries with Ben White, and when the coaches are going over certain things in his game, he's like, so the coach says, so we've got PK, we've got this player, we've got this player, we've got this player, and we've got you. These are the top performing defenders in Europe at the moment with their anticipation. So they are the best defenders who anticipate play. And he was, thank you, that was it. That's the word I was looking for, Johnny. Nonchalant. And it was exactly that. His attitude, the way his feedback was to the coach was very much like, okay. But when he came out and they interviewed him afterwards, he was like, "Oh yeah, no, that's great. That's buzzing to hear that I'm up there." So that's just the way he is. You can't help that. That's part of the reason why he's probably so calm on the ball and he's so casual.
So do you think? Yeah. Do you think Southgate is because of that? Then do you think he just don't know how to handle him? Don't know how to deal with him?
Maybe it could be that. It could be that. And it could be a case of some coaches felt that Ben White has got a bad attitude when he's saying things to him and the way he reacts to something the coach has said. Like, and it could be we're just filling in the gaps. We don't know, but if it's not the family problem and it's other players he's put in there that he thinks are performing better than him, then I don't know what he's watching. I don't know what he's watching. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But that's Johnny not surprising me, Gareth. So I mean, I'm.
Go on. Sorry, carry on.
No, I was just going to say it's not. It doesn't surprise me with Gareth Southgate. He does come across like that, as if he has to have a certain type of player, and if it's a player that doesn't suit his, his way, then he won't pick them. But yeah, strange one.
Yeah, Johnny says the price tag isn't mentioned anymore. To me, that speaks loads for how he's been performing at a level of consistency. Yeah, no, it does. It does. When he first came in, that 50 million price tag was stuck to him the whole season. It didn't. It was the whole season that people were talking about it. It was even in the documentary where he said that the kids came up to him and said, 50 million pounds, you're shit. And look, he just laughed it off. Do you know what I mean? But so it was something that stuck to him. But no one's saying that now. No one's saying it now. And that goes for a lot of the players that Mikel Arteta has been signing on those price tags that have potentially been questioned at first. There were City links as well. So do you think that is potentially one of the reasons why Arsenal have moved forward with this deal, considering he has still got quite a bit of time on his contract? That City themselves love to play 3 centre-backs or 4 centre-backs in those defensive positions, and a player like Ben White could be quite valuable, considering he can play as a left-back and as a right-back as well.
Yeah, no, but this is one of the main reasons. I think you've got it spot on. Why, like I mentioned right at the beginning of the show, that Benny's like so integral to the way Mikel Arteta plays, and I think again, you've got it spot on. I mean, he does. Whether the City links have anything to do with the contract, I just think these players such as Ben White, don't come along that often. These players that can play. Who's a centre back who's good at defending but can also go forward. Don't grow on trees. They don't. They're not about. It's very rarely that you got someone who can, is a good defender. We know that because he's primarily a centre back. We know that he can get down the line. We know from last season that he's excellent at that. His partnership with Saka was brilliant, and like you said, he can also come into the midfield. He's played there, before in the past in midfield. So they're very rare, and I think Mikel Arteta has spotted that. He knows that, and it doesn't surprise me one little bit that Man City, were eyeing it because they play that way as well. And that's what Arteta wants to do. He wants to copy this way. He wants to play this the same way. Hence the signing of Jurriën Timber. That wasn't that took a lot of thought, and it's only been recently that I've sat down and thought about that signing, and I was thinking about the playing the 4 centre backs at the role and City doing it, and we can all see that Mikel does want to copy City, and there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, look, they play the 4 centre backs to the role. Jurriën Timber is a centre back. I believe he's been brought in to replace Zinchenko, and I think going by the start of the season, I think that was Mikel Arteta's aim, to play 4 centre backs at the back, with Timber on the left, with Gabriel, with Saliba, and with Ben White. That's your 4 centre backs, same as Man City, what they do. So I wouldn't be surprised in the future if you might see Zinchenko start less games. Timber starts out there, but Ben White, integral, very important.
Well, Timber is probably a better defender than Zinchenko, and we have seen that when Zinchenko, when Timber has come in, he's equally as good on the ball in terms of moving the ball forward. He's probably, I would say, he's better in terms of his dribble with the ball. He's probably not a better passer, but I would say in terms of his attacking play and his directness to the box, he's a different type of inverted fullback to Zinchenko as well. And it was funny how immediately, as soon as Timber was spoken about, a lot of Arsenal fans had already removed Ben White out of the team and put Timber in at right back with Zinchenko at left back.
Or Gabriel as well.
Gabriel as well.
But yeah, no, the more you think about it, the more sensitive, one of the things that you get that sort of eureka moment where you go, yeah, of course I can see what he's doing. He wants to play 4 centre backs across the back. And the reason why Gabriel was out was, the light comes on was because Cinco was unfit at the time. So they had to improvise. It's just, it didn't it? Now you can just see what Mikel Arteta's plan is for the future. And yeah.
I think with the Gabriel thing, I think there was a lot that was made out of the fact that at the time when Gabriel wasn't playing, interest was coming in from Saudi Arabia. But for a player like Gabriel, Arsenal to sell him to Saudi Arabia, I want silly money. Like, we're talking world record fees if we're getting rid of Gabriel. Because who are we going to bring in? Who's out there that we can bring in to replace Gabriel at this point in time? It's just, I think he's very underrated. I can switch on to Gabriel now. Very underrated player. And yeah, maybe we'll talk about Gabriel next week. A bit of news that you broke a few days ago, Steve, was that Julian Timber is a boost for Julian Timber. It looked like he was going to potentially be out for the whole season, but it looks like he's going to be back for March. What's the news on that?
Yeah, I spoke to someone who's close to what goes on at, from the academy, actually, who knows obviously people at Arsenal. So he was talking to someone at one of the under-21s games against Exeter, which they played on Tuesday night, last Tuesday night, where Arsenal won 5-0, and the conversation was come up about Julian Timber because there's a young kid that plays for Arsenal called, I think it's Alien Heaven. Sorry if I've got your name wrong or butchered it, but Mikel Arteta wanted to bring him in just for training purposes. And the conversation went on, and Julian Timber came up, obviously, because he plays in that position. And it was mentioned that Timber's doing well. He's scheduled the way his schedule was going. He got to, grade 3. It was actually all going over my head at one point. I had to look it all up, but grade 3 of his rehabilitation, and he got there about 2-3 weeks earlier than first expected. So he was on the trajectory of January was too early. A lot of people were saying he could be back at the end in January, but he was certainly looking on schedule for coming back at the end, round about March time. I think the Nottingham Forest was the game that was what was sort of the aim for. So I mean, this guy's the same guy who I think told me a few weeks before Gabriel Jesus was interviewed that he'd be back on February the 24th, and he was interviewed and then told a few weeks later that he'd be back on February the 24th. He wasn't back on February the 4th, but that was what Jesus' plan was. But yeah, look, great news, fantastic news, because that means he'll be back for the last 10 games of the season. Hopefully, we're still into the Champions League, and we'll have him back, and it's going to be important. But yeah, look, fantastic. But look, these injuries can change. You can have a setback, but yeah, fingers crossed. He's on the way, and we should see him before the season ends.
So is that going to be? So he should be back in training for about mid-February, early February, and then back to full match fitness. Looking to get in some minutes in March then.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a few. Yeah, that's right. I mean, there's been a few mad rumours that he's already started doing ball work. He hasn't done any ball work at all yet. And look, he's still a long way off. But according to someone who knows his stuff, regarding injuries at the academy, then he's saying that he should be back and to help Arsenal in that last run of the season and hopefully lead us on into a title, showdown or whatever, or push us onto a title win, and that's going to be like massively important. But one thing as well, like a lot of people reporting on his ACL, it's not. If you can get a less serious ACL injury, that's the one Timber's got. It's the one where he no scarring, he ain't going to get no there's going to be no problems inside his knee.
Oh, okay,
You know, when you get an ACL, yeah, it's the one where sometimes you've seen some ACLs. My brother had an ACL, and I see the X-ray, and it looks like someone's got like a chip. Look, yeah, and that's not the case. It was more that the ACL was bruised. So what I've been told is it was really bruised. So it's a matter of the ligament or whatever you would call it to heal. So and then once it's healed, as a bruise does, then he'll be back to normal, and there won't be none of these after effects. And will he be the same players? That some have.
So do you think he'll play his part in the end of the season? Because we saw last season with Mikel Arteta, he didn't really introduce many players into the team if they hadn't really played. Like any of the injured players that were out, they didn't really get much of much game time towards the end of the season with that title running. Do you think that he's going to bring in Timber towards the end of the season if he's available?
Well, I think it all depends how we are and how we're doing. I think obviously he'll be brought in, slowly. No one, even with the smallest injuries, they're never rushed back quickly, are they? Especially where Mikel Arteta's and concerned. He's got a bit of stick in the past of, with Saka and people playing with an injury. But if you look back over our players, he's very careful. Arsenal fans keep picking on him for Saka. We know he needs a rest, but but overall he's been very good. So I can see him taking his time. Obviously, it may be to do with other injuries. I mean, if Zinchenko's playing well and he's flying and he's fit, and we're doing well in the league, and he may sort of gradually bring him back in. Not a little bit slower than probably what we did Gabriel Jesus, because that was unreal, weren't it? It was like quick bash wallop, and he was on the pitch before you knew it. So but they'll keep it. He'll bring him in slowly. They'll take good care of him. And as fans, I'm sure that's we want that, don't we? We don't want him to be rushed back unless it's totally necessary. But I don't think there'd be any danger of that.
Yeah. No, look, I think it'd be a big boost for Arsenal if they can get Jurriën Timber in. Like I said, he's a different type of defender to Zinchenko. I'd say he's a better defender. He's a bit more attacking. Zinchenko's excellent in terms of his technical ability and his range of passing is excellent. And yeah, I think it'll be hopefully part to play in what will be a title challenge towards the end of the season. A couple of comments here from Johnny. He says, do you think Zinchenko is overrated, bearing in mind the lack of defensive capabilities?
No, because I just think he's so good at what he does. He at Man City he did the same job. He's excellent going forward. And again, similar to Ben White. I feel that he's integral to the way we play. I also think that Timber could also be just as integral to the way we play as Zinchenko can. And I think Timber, like you've already mentioned as well, though, is a better defender. So he's obviously bringing that in because, as much as we love Zinchenko, he has been caught out, quite a few times, in that position. Arteta spotted this, and I feel that's why Timber's come in. But I don't think he's overrated. Yes, look, his defensive side of his game could be better. And look, who knows? Look, he could bring Timber's there, isn't he? I mean, it could improve over the season. Do you know what I mean? His defensive abilities. I thought, against Manchester City, I thought he was excellent. I thought it was one of the best defensive performances I've seen from Zinchenko. So maybe the introduction of like Timber in the squad, will help improve, his game. So I don't think he's overrated. I wouldn't say that because he's just so good at what he does. And at the end of the day, it's still remains to be seen whether Timber can do what Zinchenko do. Obviously, Arteta feels that he can, but we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's overrated. I think a player doesn't get fans' votes three times last season for Player of the Month. I think it was even 4. And nominated for Player of the Season. He was integral to the way we played last season. He's integral to the way we've changed the way we play. Yes, defensively, he falls short sometimes. But with the way we're set up, we're covered in that position a lot of the time. It's usually when a player hasn't dropped in when he's in certain positions. But yeah, look, he's the start of what is hopefully Arsenal moving forward to bigger things. But he's definitely going to be a big part of it. So yeah, got a lot of love for Zinchenko. Johnny also says cover at left back and right back is going to be concerned when Tommy goes to the Asia Cup. Your thoughts, boys? That's in January, the Asia Cup. So that runs from January. I think it's basically going to be about a month. So it'll be out to probably about mid-February. I think was the final. February's 24th. So the end of February is when the final of that is. So yeah, thoughts on that, Steve? Tomiyasu out from January to the end of February, so he'll be missing probably about 4 or 5 games in that running. So
yeah, yeah, we're knowing Arsenal's like sod's law, we're getting injury during that time. But yeah, I hear the concerns. I agree. But saying that, look, we got Kior, so it depends. I mean, he's the left-sided player, so it will depend. We just got to hope really Ben White doesn't go down. I think you can bring Kioi in for Zinchenko. I think there is a little bit of levels between them two, so there is that little bit of worry. But that's what he's. We've brought Kioi in to do that job, and one of them jobs is to cover on that left hand side, whether it's as a left hand centre back or a left hand left back. His problem is he's a good defender, but he's not good going forward. So he's definitely going to take something away. If it's Ben White that would go down, then I think we will have problems. And whether it's something he's thought about.
At right back.
Yeah, see that's something I don't like that. That is concerning. No slant on Thomas Partey. He just can't play there. He just can't. But hopefully, fingers crossed. But I hear the concerns. They're well worth noting, bringing up.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you've got the African Nations Cup, you've got the Asia Cup. When they get paid mid-season, that's the kind of the risk you take when you're buying those players.
Is Partey out as well at any point?
African Nations Cup. When is that? I think it's every 2. Is it gone to every 2 years now?
Yeah.
No,
was that last year? Was it?
It's in 2024 as well.
It starts man.
January at the same time. January the 13th till 11th.
So we have got a problem then. We have got a problem.
So it's like a month.
Now, I know why we didn't sell Cedric Suarez. I knew there was a reason for it.
There you go. Cedric Suarez is the option there at right back. There we go. He's going to be playing. And that's the thing. Look, for all that people don't like Cedric Suarez, you need a team. You need a player, that is willing to sit on the bench or play in the under-23s, play in the St. Johnson's Paint Trophy with the under-23s, and bide his time and wait until he's needed. Players like Cedric, players like El Nene will sit there, will not say anything, will be professional, will turn up, train every game, and then when they're called upon, they'll play. And they haven't played in months. 20 plus games they won't have played in usually when they come in. And they get the biggest digs when they should be getting praised. Like he does look, as I said, forget about Cedric. he does a job. There we go. Exactly, he does a job. Look, you're not expecting anything spectacular from second, but he gets up and down and he puts in a tackle. Like you could have a youngster play there, and sometimes it just doesn't work. A lot of the time it doesn't work, to be fair, because they're just not ready. They're just not ready for men's football. And we have young players in there. So yeah. Up next, David Raya breaks his silence on the goalkeeping situation with Aaron Ramsdale. David Raya done an interview with Athletic, and he said there was a few conversations been had with Mikel Arteta. He went on to say, I had a few conversations with Mikel before the signing because it was complicated, the financial issue and so on. He was one of the coaches I wanted to work with, his philosophy and how he has transformed Arsenal with the way they played, and it's very important to have him as a coach. And he was asked, but did Arteta ever suggest to Raya that it'd be number one over Ramsdale? He said, I'm going to fight for it. Arteta gives me confidence to be there, that he wanted to have two players in each position, and it's up to me to find the time to fight to keep minutes. I don't want to think beyond that. If the rotations happen, as in any other position, I'm going to help on and off the pitch. And that speaks volumes for Raya as a player and as a person there, where he openly admits it does seem very much like Mikel Arteta has not spoken to him about being number one. Arteta has always said that he doesn't guarantee anyone a position in the team, and he says you're there to fight for your place. He wants two players in every position. But Arteta said that if the position's there to rotate, if the player's there to bring him in, I'll bring him in. He currently sees David Raya as his number one, and David Raya says if there is a rotation at any point, he's ready to fight on and off the pitch, and that says a lot. What's your thoughts on these comments there about that he's ready to fight on and off the pitch there, Steve? Because it shows a lot of unity between the goalkeepers.
Yeah, it does. I mean, you hope that he would be like that. It's good. Look, it's good to hear. It's what you want. You know, we know that. You know, Mikel Arteta wants to build this family, wants to build this. You know, the love. You know, in the ground, off the dressing room, all over the club, and he's doing that. And it's even mega important is when you've got people fighting for their positions. And look, I mean, if the interview was done with Aaron Ramsdale, how would he feel? Is it the way they really feel? I don't know. But it's good to hear. You know, people seem to quieten down a little bit about the Raya Ramsdale thing, which is good as well. And hopefully this interview from David Raya sinks in with the Arsenal fans to sort of say, look, you know, I'm here, I'm fighting for my place. You know, I want to be number one, and obviously, you know, that goes without saying. And I'm sure Aaron's the same. So great, fantastic. Will it work? Can they carry on like this? I don't know. Can you have two international class goalkeepers going out with one sort of plays all the time and one don't? I don't know. It's a new thing. It's a strange thing. It's still something I'm trying to get my head around. But look, Ray has come out. He's said he's told the mood of him and Ramsdale in the dressing room, and that can only be a good thing. So yeah, ideal situation is what Raya said, that you know they're both mates. They fight, you know, in training every day to see who can be number one. I hope Raya stays number one because I hope he makes no mistakes, and I don't want to lose football matches. But and the thing will go as the same if Raya's injured and Ramsdale comes in. I'd want him to be my number one because I want him to have a blinder every week. So yeah, again, can it work in the long run? I don't know. I really don't know. Very difficult to see Aaron Ramsdale not getting minutes. Do you know what I mean? We know how good he is. But look, great to hear from him. can only bode well for the season that they're getting on like this. So yeah, great, but just I don't know. Do you think it can go on?
Well, he was quizzed on the relationship between him and Ramsdale, and he said the relationship is very good. At the end of the day, we are mates, which is important. Which is an important thing. We have a very healthy relationship. There are no problems. We push each other every day in training. When he's a little bit down, I push him. When I'm a little bit down, he does the same. We train with 3 goalkeepers, 4 at most, for hours of the week, and we need that kind of relationship because otherwise training is not going to go well.
Yeah.
And I've spoken about it before, about relationships that goalkeepers have in a team. And I 100% agree with what he says. When you're in a team where 2 goalkeepers are competing unhealthily, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You need, because as he said, if I've got something in my mind that I'm pushing you out of goal and I'm going to do it in every way possible, and when we're training with each other, I'm not going to help you. I'm going to hinder you and make you look bad so that I get picked. There's an easy way to do that. It may get called out by coaches and stuff like that because they can see certain things, but there's an easy way to do that. And that is because goalkeepers are involved in the training. They have to be involved in the session. And if I want to make goalkeeper look bad, when I'm taking shots, I'm putting them in the corner. I'm making sure I'm scoring. It's like there's no chance he's saving it. And you can do that. You can do that because as you're training, it's like if I'm training with you and we're passing the ball and I fizz the ball in at your feet every time. Is that helping you play? Difficult. Or is that me trying to show you up? And goalkeepers can do exactly the same. Goalkeepers can do exactly. At the end of the day, you're kicking the ball out of your hand. And how hard can I kick the ball out of my hand? Like you can punt it in the goal. So if I'm doing that in training and I'm fizzing in balls at the goal with the goalkeeper with no chance of saving it, and that is hindering the goalkeeper because they're not getting warmed up, they're not practicing, they're not getting any range on their saves, they're not actually working. They're just picking the ball out of the net, and that's what I'm saying. You can have relationships where goalkeepers are like that with each other, and coaches probably have to get more involved. And it's not good sessions. It's not good sessions. You need that competitive edge. You need that friendly competitive edge because you need to have that banter. As he said, when he's down, because you need to pick each other up. If I'm having a crap training session, the other goalkeeper is there. Come on, you're better than that. And he picks you up. If I'm having a crap training session and in the back of my mind, I don't want you to do any better, I'm not saying anything. I'm not picking you up. I'm letting you fall. I'm keeping you on the ground. I'm making faces. There's so many things you can do, and it will make a bad atmosphere. So I fully believe what you're saying there because I've been in a situation where I've had a good relationship with goalkeepers and it's helped out, and I've had bad relationship with goalkeepers and I've not wanted to train with them. So I think short term it's going to work because Aaron Ramsdale actually doesn't have an option. He can say he wants to go, but there's no way Arsenal are selling him in January. I don't care what anyone says. That'd be ridiculous to sell Aaron Ramsdale in January. And then what do you do? Who do we bring in? What we have Carl Hein in as our second goalkeeper. You can't do it. You can't do it. As Johnny says,
and Arsenal haven't got the money.
Yeah, Ramsdale has shown class. One thing I wanted to point out is the comments from Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, and it kind of what's not good is it paints Ramsdale as a character that it goes against what he's saying he is. Whereas on the weekend when Neville was saying that that Raya looks shaky, looks nervous. Ramsdale will be shaking his hands and rubbing his hands there. And it's the same as the comments where Ramsdale's clapping Raya's save and Jamie Carragher's like, oh yeah, that's just there for the cameras. It's just painting him to be a character that, from what I've seen at Arsenal, he's just not that kind of person. Yes, he want to fight for his spot, but he strikes me as a kind of person that wants to fight for his spot and get his spot back on merit, not because Arsenal are doing poor or because Arsenal have because Raya's letting goals or he's looking poor. It just leaves a bad taste in my mouth, and you keep on talking about people like that, and they've shown none of those characteristics since they've been at the club.
No. I think they're going over the top anyway. Whether they're doing it just for attention to get some more Twitter followers or get some transaction on online, I really don't know, because I look at the pundits and they've played the game. They played the game at the highest of level, and the things that they're saying, just to me, they just don't add up. They try and make it bigger than what the things are. And why call out a fellow England international or someone who's played for England, Marion Ramsdale, and literally, put him down and really take the piss out of him, because that's what Gary Neville did when he was doing this. He was basically taking the piss out of, Aaron Ramsdale. And more for we Arsenal fans that actually some of them did jump on the back of it and, was saying, "Oh yeah, Ramsdale, well, we didn't think he was dropping him." It's the same with Raya, with the mistake. And first of all, for one of the goals, I didn't think it was his mistake for the goal when he went like that. There was the one where he passed out. Fair enough. But as like I said last week, Arteta's told him to do that. He's not looking nervous, and you would think players of that, York would know better, but I don't know. We've heard it before of Gary Neville. He doesn't like Arsenal, does he?
He's a Man United fan. They all hate Arsenal, but it's because we're doing well. Let's take a look at the next 5 fixtures of Arsenal. They're going to be tough. Chelsea away from home. They've just started picking up a bit of form. That's going to be tough. Sevilla away from home in the Champions League. Again, another tough game. But then Sheffield United at home should be an absolute smash and grab on that one. And West Ham away from home, it's a tough run. Newcastle away from home on the 4th of November. And let's quickly have a look at the 5th game in the Premier League. But first and foremost, Steve, Chelsea away from home next. Yeah. Bad time to be playing. It doesn't really matter. Who cares? What's your thoughts?
No, never a bad time to play them. And I call them because that's what they are. Them. Cockroach of a club. Just can't stand Chelsea. I just want to, and their fans ain't far better. I've seen them all online this week. Oh, this time we're going to do you Arsenal. How many trophies you won? The usual absolute nonsense that you get from this cockroach of a football club and the fans. I could take Tottenham. I could take Man United. I could take Liverpool. I could take Chelsea. I can't take. I can't take. And they win 1 game or 2 games, and then all of a sudden they think they're, going to win the league again with that, with that clan of an owner, and spending £1 million on players that, I don't know. They put up their injury list the other day. I'd never heard of about 10 of them.
1.2 billion.
And they got a cheek to put up an injury list. Yeah, but you've seen their injury list. They put up the other day. Oh, we've had all these injuries. Look, I pride myself on knowing football. 6 or 7 of them I'd never even heard of.
Yeah.
Who are these players? It's like they've gone and bought a load of tosh from everywhere. A joke for a football club, joke fans, joke club. And I really hope we absolutely wipe the floor of them. And even if they got a result with them, they'd probably come online and big it up, but they'd still be shit because they're Chelsea, and that's what they are now. But look, I think we'll beat them, mate. There's no problem there. For me, I look at Chelsea's side, I look at our side, and if we play as good as we can on our day, I think we'll wipe the claw of them, to be honest with you. We should do.
Let's have a little look at Chelsea's so-called Galacticos, because I keep on hearing that this side is a young side, but an exciting side in the making. Let's go through it. I rate Sanchez. I think he's a very good goalkeeper. I think that a lot of people underrate him, and I think since he's been at Chelsea, you've seen he's a very, very good goalkeeper. I think he's Spanish number 2 or 3. Mark Cucurella, maybe a little bit overrated in his time from when he was at Brighton, and maybe it was a system that suited him better. But he's just not been the same player since he's gone to Chelsea, and he's even played at right back there, which is crazy. Axel Disasi, not bad, but is he groundbreaking defender? He's definitely not. We've got nearly a 40-year-old Thiago Silva, Levi Colwell, a good prospect, very good prospect. Conor Gallagher, I like Conor Gallagher, but is he top 4 material? Maybe in a squad player, but I don't know as a starter. Casado, massively
he won't get
very good player in the making, but 115 million, never. You must be joking. Enzo Fernandez looks like a decent player, but what has he done so far? I mean, there's been a lot of the blame about the fact that he's been in a poor Chelsea team, so I'm going to give him some slack. Cole Palmer, out of nowhere, 40 million, out of nowhere. I think he's a very good player, looks like a good player, looks like a good prospect, but I think Man City, there's a reason why they let go of these players at the time they do. And I think if he was going to be a player that is going to elevate Chelsea into a championship winning team, then I don't think Man City would be selling him for 40 million, and I don't think they'd be selling him at all. Borgia, and Mudryk.
Who?
This is what I mean. So this is the team that Chelsea fans keep on raving about. Keep on raving about, and their bench is pretty weak as well. Their bench is full of a lot of youngsters. So I know that Chelsea fans are excited about the prospect of these players and this club and what they're doing and where they're potentially going, but there's nothing in this team here, or even if you was to bring back in your players that are injured, that is telling me that this Chelsea team, and I think that's even last season's team, this Chelsea team is going to be doing anything. I think this is the strongest team because they've got Nkunku there. I think this might have been in pre-season. So Nkunku there.
Yeah.
Who's this up top?
Yeah.
Chukwuemeka, I like him. I've followed him since he was at Aston Villa in the FA Youth Cup. A very good prospect, very good player. I like him. But again, we're talking about potential. You've got a team of potential.
That's ridiculous, mate.
And even then, that's not even the best potential in the world. It's not.
Yeah.
It's far from it. It's not the best young players in the world. It's not. So that Chelsea team is a team that at their peak is what? Pushing top 4? That's it. If that.
Yeah, maybe.
If that. A Europa League team. It's a good Europa League team. Like, Chelsea fans, you've fallen off if you're talking about that's the kind of team that you think is going to challenge anything in this league. Because the Chelsea that I've always known has always tried to get the best players in the world. And if they're going to move away from that, it's a long old slog because it ain't. I think there's a lot of looking at Arsenal and what they've done and completely forgetting about the tough times they had to go through to get to that. The arguing between each other, the worse than brother and sister, over the teams that are picked and the players that are in the team. Like, it's crazy.
They're just like a mishmash, aren't they? That's what it is. It's just a mishmash of players. God knows what Thiago Silva must be thinking. He must be just thinking, I'm happy to be playing football and collecting wages at 40 years old because, you know, as much as Thiago Silva is a legend, he should not be playing at 40-year-old, you know, in for Chelsea in the Premier League. You know, and he shouldn't. You know, he shouldn't. They spent all that money.
Crazy.
Probably the best player, probably apart from Fernandez, is probably, you know, more important to them than probably Fernandez is because they're so at the back. They're just, you know, Reece James. Okay, I don't know. He's on his way back from fitness. Maybe he's just as important. But yeah, look, a mishmash of player. They're spelt over. What did you say? £1.2 billion, and they've got Denzel Washington and Action Jackson up front. But it's true, isn't it? And it's like, who are these people? What are they doing? Who is this man? Who is this? Who is this
Denzel
clan
Washington
of
and
an
Action
owner?
Jackson.
Yeah, what haven't they? They have. It's like that's their forward line. That's what they've been searching for. 1.2 billion pound. 1.2 billion. And they've got Action Jackson and Denzel Washington and a 40-year-old at centre back. And I've got these Chelsea fans, right, whacking up trophies. But we've won more trophies than you. We won the Europa League, the Champions League. Bollocks. Champions is shit. Hope's a joke. I hope we don't come back to haunt me. But yeah, like I said, even if they did get a result, at the end of the day, they're still the joke club. But yeah, yeah. I mean, how many of them would get into the Arsenal side? I mean,
None of them.
Fernandez, maybe,
with my
maybe,
chest.
possibly.
With my chest.
Slight.
None of them. None of them. Not one player. And I will do a combined 11. Not one player is getting in my Arsenal Chelsea combined 11. Not one player. Not even Fernandez. Who's he taking out? Rice. Never.
No, maybe Havertz if he plays in an 8. No, definitely. I mean, if we play in Party and
Odegaard.
Rice and Odegaard, then he don't get in. Then he definitely don't get in. But I can't see Arsenal playing that way. So yeah, look. Do you know what? The only player that I feel sorry for in Chelsea's team, and generally do feel sorry for, is Mudryk. You know, I do. I feel a little bit sorry for him because I think he was forced to go to Chelsea, and yeah, there is a little bit of him as a young bloke, and yeah, he seems a bit lost there.
He's massively lost.
But he's got
an 8-year contract,
and he's got eight years. He'll be there till he's 35.
Seven and a half left. Always look on the bright side of life. 7.5 left. After that, they've got Sevilla. It's going to be a tough game away from home in the Champions League. How do you see that going, Steve?
That's a scary one, mate, because we can't afford to lose that now. You know, we need to pick up some points. I don't think it helped us, Seville and PSV drawing. You know, that didn't end up being a good result. I mean, probably rather one win or the other. But now that group, I think, is it Lens with 4? If they got 4 points, then I think we're then Seville, and we've got 2 each. Is it? Yeah, and then there's PSV with 1. So yeah, look, we can't. You know, Seville are going to be tough at the Emirates, so we can't afford to lose that. You know, this group's getting a little bit after going away and losing in Lens. I don't think we can afford to lose 2 away games. You know, just get a point at least. But I think that's going to be tough. I'm a little bit worried about that, to be honest with you, because yeah, again, like I said, all these teams, teams that are well used to playing in Europe, and they look at Arsenal's playing as it's a cup final when they play Arsenal. It'd be a massive game. Very important that we win it. So yeah, when's that? Is that next week?
That game is on the Tuesday, the 24th of October. So yeah, next week. Chelsea on the Saturday, 5:30 kickoff live on BT Sports probably, and then you've got TNT, and then you've got Sevilla versus Arsenal on the Tuesday. It's going to be a tough game. So we'll be doing no show on the Tuesday. It'll be a post-match reaction. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Look, Arsenal on their day can definitely beat a Sevilla side, but it's on their day. It's going to be very, very tough. To beat Sevilla. But I think we can do it. I think we can do it. Look, Arsenal last season in pre-season smashed them, and then they went on to what did they get? The semi-final to the final with the Europa League, or did they win the Europa League? Who won the Europa League?
No, I don't think they won. I can't remember that. Can't
Because they beat
remember.
Man United in
I think they
what
got.
round?
Oh, for that was about the quarters, weren't it?
Quarters,
I
was the
think.
quarters.
Not 100% sure.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
no, I'm
beat
not
Man United in
100%
the
sure.
quarters.
Yeah.
All right. So next up after that, we have got Sheffield United at home's got to be a win. Score prediction on
it
that
should
one quickly,
be
Steve.
easy enough. Yeah, I think it'd be a good win, 4-0 or something like that. I think we
West
should
Ham
come
away.
away with get a few goals.
And then
West Ham away is going to be tough. Yeah, very, very well. They bought well. They've spent the Declan Rice money very well. You know, bringing in Kudus, Alvarez, and Ward-Prowse, who started the season absolutely, on fire. So that's, it was tough. It was tough last season. There, I think it could be even tougher this year as well. So we've got, like you said, we've got an hard few games coming up. Really hard running. We're going to have to be at our best for that one. It's a hard period. This is a very hard period. I'll be glad when we've got through it. If we can come through this with, unbeaten, that'd be unreal. That would be. It'd probably tell us somewhere whereabouts we are as well.
So if we look at Chelsea, Sheffield United, West Ham, Newcastle, and the Burnley game, out of them 5 games, how many points do you see us getting?
I think we'll beat Chelsea. I think we'll beat Sheffield United. I think we'll beat West Ham, and I think we'll get a draw against either West Ham or West Ham. I think we'll beat West Ham. I think we'll want revenge over from last season. Arsenal pretty good at doing that. When they're getting beat one year, they go back the next year. They get reminded of what happened, and they put it right. So, 3 wins for me. The Newcastle one, obviously, mega tough. So I'd say 10 points. I'll be happy with a draw at Newcastle.
And the Newcastle game is it's not off the back of anything. So Carabao Cup, Newcastle probably go out with a weaker side in that. Champions League, they've got a Champions League game 4 days later, but I'm sure they're not going to be thinking about that one. Look, it's going to be tough, but games like Newcastle, I said it last season, these are tough games, but games against Newcastle, we have to be looking to win, and that's not a slight on Newcastle. That's just more about how good I think we are and where we see ourselves.
Yeah.
Man City won't be looking at Newcastle thinking they're going to be dropping points. They're going to be thinking it's a tough game. I'm not looking to smash them 4-5-0, but Newcastle are gettable. Newcastle, we definitely can. And I'd like to come out with that 15 points if we can. It would really, really show that we mean business this season. Quickly there, Johnny, I think we may come unstuck against Newcastle, though. A lot of people have said that. I don't see why. Arsenal's away form has been very good. It's not the away form that I think people have been worried about. I think it's more the home form we've been a bit stuttering. Forget the Lons game, but because it's a completely different Champions League. But away from home, we've been doing all right. We were really good against Newcastle last season. I think, as Steve said there, we learned. And the previous season was the season where we just got walked over. And I think we made sure that didn't happen last season. So I think we can take a lot of solace from that game there. I think we can get 15. If we come out with 13, then I still think it's a good tally. But I think if we're looking to win the league, these are the games we need to start. We need to win. Quickly before we go, I see Johnny said Ollie Watkins or Ivan Toney. Steve, who would you go for? Oh, it's the old sound again. It's the old sound. Ollie Watkins or Ivan Toney. Me personally, it's no question out of the two. It's got to be Ivan Toney out of the two because he's just a better player. Ollie Watkins, I think, is a good player. England 2-1 up. Ollie Watkins is a good player, but he's not clinical enough. And I think that I think he's kind of at his level. I really do think that Ollie Watkins is at his level, and yeah, I can hear you, Steve.
You're right.
I think, yeah. I think Ollie Watkins is at his level, and I don't think that bringing him to Arsenal, I don't think he's got too much more to give. And I see he missed a lot of chances. And if Arsenal fans got frustrated at Giroud and the chances that used to miss, like it wouldn't be long until Ollie Watkins was in the pan for a lot of Arsenal fans. So
yeah, I'm still sceptical whether we're gonna bring a striker in or not. I know there's excuse me. I know there's a lot of talk. I'm one of the very few Arsenal fans who don't necessarily think we need one in January. I know a lot do. I've got my reasons for it. I don't think Arsenal got bundles of money, and I feel it's very unlikely that Arsenal are going to spend up to 60 million in January. Sort of, it's very unusual for Arsenal to spend money in January. It's since Arteta's came to the club, we've not really bought in January. Look, we bought Trossard and Jorginho and Kior, but we didn't pay loads of money for them. And if you look back in the past, with Martin Odegaard loan, Mari cost nothing, Cedric Suarez was nothing, Austin Trusty was another one. Our business in January ain't great, to be honest with you, especially paying loads of money. Well, I think if it's one or the other, I would rather we bring in a Saka replacement or a Saka, someone to help him out, a Neto for 40 million or something. I would prefer that than a striker. I think it's more difficult to bring in someone like Toney and get him used to the way we play sort of halfway through a season, especially paying that amount of money. I think he'll need a pre-season with Arsenal. So that's if he come at all. That's if he doesn't end up at Tottenham, which seems to be, Arsenal fans don't want to hear this, but for me, he would be a better fit at Tottenham than what he would be at Arsenal. But to answer the question out the two, I don't know what you said, Kears, but I'm sort of
Toney or Watkins.
If I had to pick one, it'd be probably Watkins. I'm not that I'm a great fan of Toney. I just don't feel he's someone who if Arteta buys him, great, I'm not feeling it for him to come in and fit into our sort of structure of play. I'd like to see someone maybe in the summer in sort of the ilk and the sort of makeup of someone like Isaac, someone like that, someone who he scored 10 goals this season already, very mobile, quick, sharp, on the turn, can get into the box, someone of quality, someone like that, would be more than an Ivan Toney. But we'd have to wait and see.
I'd like to wait until the summer and get a Victor Osimhen. I think good in the air, fast, scores goals. And he's just a bit of a killer. And I think a move to the Premier League would be the progression that would sort of step him up into that sort of is he or isn't he world class level. Because I think he's one of them players that's kind of teetering on it. A quick fun one, Steve. Saw this online. If you could bring back one Arsenal player for that right wing position, although they've got Alexis Sanchez in there and Gervinho, he was definitely left winger. Who would you bring back?
The right wing position?
Yeah.
It's got to be Freddie, isn't it? For me, it would be Freddie. For me, it would be Freddie.
And if you could bring back one player, any of them from the Emirates era?
A favourite. It's got to be Kleb, isn't it? I think I'd love to see him under Arteta. Can you imagine that? Yeah. I mean, just for those who don't know,
we'd still be frustrated that he's not shooting. That'd be for sure.
Apart from
because he can take around 15 players and he'll pass it when it's on the line.
Yeah.
but it was unbelievable.
If you've not seen him, anybody ain't seen him play, go on YouTube, have a look what he does. He done some incredible. Our Shaving was an excellent player. Theo, do you know what I mean? Good servant, scored over 100 goals. I suppose him on his day would, probably might be a good Saka replacement. I certainly would have Alexis Sanchez. I know probably a lot of people would bring him back. Jovino, no, not for me. And probably if I had to pick a favourite, a favourite player, not necessarily for their ability, I'd probably like to bring Podolski back because I loved him. I love Podolski.
It's not a bad shout for Freddie, especially on that right
Freddie,
wing role. He would be quality. I think he would also work in an Arteta team. He worked with Arsene Wenger, and he probably wasn't one of the most technical players, but he had that positional sense. He could finish. Dribbling was very, very good. Passing, but he was just an all-round top player. Alexander Hleb, as Steve said, probably one of the most unspoken players that Arsenal have ever had. Like, he's a very underrated. I don't even know if it's underrated. People just don't talk about him. He was outstanding.
Who would you say he's like? Who would you say he was like now? Who would you say? Could you pick?
I'd probably say
difficult, isn't it?
In terms of the way he dribbles and just glides past players, Jack Grealish when he was at Villa.
Yeah.
Not when he's at City, because I feel that at Villa he's kind of drifted centrally a bit more often. It's tough. It's tough. There weren't. I think with Hleb, and it's probably another reason why people don't talk about him much, is there weren't many players that I've ever seen that were like him. He was just. He was like the glue. He was just get the ball in any position, glide past three players, pass it, pass 1-2s. King of 1-2s would always. He's the kind of player that every team would want in their five-a-side team. Because he's just going to always get on the ball and give it back to someone.
Where did he play? Was he like? I tend to remember him playing down the middle a lot. I don't know why.
He did. Centre midfielder.
He did, didn't he? I remember midfield. Over Highbury watching him going through the middle, and David Silva comes into my head a little bit. Where he used to pick the ball up in the middle of the pitch and drive with it, just glide past people, like you said. Very David Silva.
Yeah, but he just didn't score. He just didn't shoot. That was the thing. He never shot. And there were so many opportunities where it's just like, shoot, Hleb, shoot.
Yeah, you felt he was going to walk it in at sometimes.
Yeah. Theo Walcott, as we know, I think he's a very underrated player. Great servant for Arsenal, over 100 goals. And I think he's one of them players that people will look back on and give him more credit than he actually got at the time. Andrea Sharvin, we know about Andrea Sharvin from his stories with Alan. Unbelievable talent, but once he found out that Arsenal he weren't going to get as much money as he was getting in Russia and worked 4 times as hard, he was like, "Nah, shut up shop." Jovino, I weren't a fan of Jovino. He was, I mean, he had ability, but he was just too erratic. I think it was probably harsh as Arsenal fans, but we were frustrated. He could dribble past a lot of players, but his decision making wasn't good. Podolski just didn't fit into the system, but I loved him. He seemed to score, played. When he comes as a sub, he scored, and he scored worldies. Absolute bullet. Alexis Sanchez is one of the greatest players that played at Arsenal. Absolutely.
I don't think he'd get on with Arteta, though, do you, Sanchez?
I don't think he'd get on with his system. We play possession football, and Sanchez is a very direct player who needs the team built around him a little bit. And I don't know if it would work. And we all know Nicolas Pepe just didn't work, so I don't know why his name was in there. He left his class, but left too soon, 100%. Rosicky, I love Rosicky, quality player. Jovino wasted time, Pepe the same. I think we'd agree on those ones. That is all we have time for. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, Steve.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Enjoyed it.
And thank you very much for joining us tonight, Noah, and especially Johnny. Absolutely smashing it with the comments. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Cheers, there, Johnny. For everyone who's watched the show tonight, make sure you press that like and subscribe button. Everyone who is new to the show, press that subscribe button and press that share button as well. You'll be seeing us next Tuesday in the post-match reaction because Arsenal are playing in the Champions League. I'll try and do a watch along for that one. Peace out, people. There you go, Johnny. Stay safe. Oh, and wash your hands.